All right, and here we are. Good morning and welcome in. So looks like we've got some echo here. Hang tight 1 second. There's always
I think it went away.
Stuff happening. Okay, we got it. Okay, yep. Perfect. All right, well, welcome in everyone. And I'm Donna Reade, joined by Debbie Kilsheimer. And when she sees a messy chart of accounts, she doesn't get mad. She gets curious, which is somehow scarier. And that's the thing about the accounting industry. Underneath the spreadsheets, there are actual people with actual personalities. And that's how we built Bookkeepers on Fire to prove it. So settle in and let's talk about stuff that's actually happening and keeping bookkeepers and accountants up at night. So we have a phenomenal guest today, Debbie Baker, who is Mrs. Bookkeeper, which means she can find your missing transactions, explain your numbers, and still somehow sound nicer than your bank statement deserves. So sit down, stand up, lie on the floor, and just be in a position to receive this. So now let's kick off this conversation, Deb.
Great. Thanks, Donna. I'm so excited you're here, Deb. Before the show started, Debbie and I were talking because we have the same name. And we figured out that, only women under over 55 are named Debbie. So we can always tell kind of how old you are if you're named Debbie. So, I know. Did you have a lot of Debbies in your high school growing up or in your school when you were growing up?
I did. Yeah, there were a lot.
There were a lot of us.
And what's real funny is when I meet people now, and I quit doing this a few years ago. I used to say Debbie, like Debbie Reynolds, and most people would know who Debbie Reynolds is. Nowadays, the generation, they look at you with like, well, who's Debbie Reynolds? I'm like, forget it.
Princess Leia's mother.
That's what I usually.
That messes them up more.
Didn't she die? Yeah, both of them did.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. You don't hear, and I heard somewhere it's coming back, but I haven't seen any little Debbies other than the snack cakes in Publix.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's so cool. Anyway, we're excited that you're here. Now, Deb, how did you get in this accounting profession? How long have you been doing this?
Oh my goodness. When I knew I was going to be doing this, I started thinking back, and this is something probably nobody knows. I don't even know if my family even knows this. My first exposure to bookkeeping was my senior year in high school, because in high school, you could take an elective, bookkeeping, typing, and shorthand.
All as one elective, or was it three separate?
Take one of those electives, and shorthand was one of them, typing was another, and bookkeeping was another. And my senior year, I had taken all my required courses, so I was. I thought, well, I'm going to take an elective. So I signed up for typing, which I enjoyed that. That was great. I signed up for shorthand. I lasted 1 day. I hated it. I couldn't figure it out. And so my mother said, why don't you take bookkeeping? You're good with math and numbers. And so I did. And that was really the start of it. I just thoroughly enjoyed the class. And that was where I went springboard into college, and I said, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to major in accounting. I really didn't know what I was going to do with it when I signed up for it, but I went on and got my degree and graduated with a degree in accounting. So that's where it all started. So it went all the way back to when I was 17 years old.
Now, when I was like, I'm not too much older than you. Back then, when we went to college, the thing was to get married right after college. I remember being interviewed for my first CPA job. Mm-hmm. And he said, why should I hire you since you're going to go off and get married? I'm like, looking, I'm like, what? So, we got the degree, but, we were at the beginning of the revolution where we would go get jobs, and our mothers didn't have jobs.
Right.
They were stay-at-home moms. So when our moms thought that, well, don't you want to be a homemaker? Oh, you kidding me? So yeah, it was challenging when we first started to go out and actually get a job.
It's right. And my goal, and I've always been I would say a little bit more independent individual. My goal was not to get married out of college. I wanted to get a degree and move off to the big city and make a lot of money. That was my idea. And so, I was from a little town, Wichita Falls, which is on the Red River between Texas and Oklahoma, and had a population of 100,000 maybe, or less than that. And I moved to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and took on a job with a big 8 accounting firm. So I went
Oh,
right
you were
into
with the big 8? Which one?
Pete Marwick.
Pete Marwick.
Yeah. I interviewed with Arthur Anderson in Dallas and Pete Marwick in Fort Worth, and they both made me offers, but I really didn't want to move to Dallas. I lived at home when I went to college, and so I'd never been away from home. And it was like Fort Worth was big enough for me. So I moved off to, left home and came down to Fort Worth, and I've been in this area ever since. But yeah, that's how I got into it, and I came into public accounting as an auditor. And
Oh, how'd you like that?
it was trying. It
Don't
was,
we all? I mean, I did Big 8 too. That's where they throw you into auditing, and it's
yeah,
horrible. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and you worked a ton of hours,
Yeah.
and yeah, I lasted 1 year. That was I had had enough of it, and I talked to, they were really really good to me. They knew I was unhappy, and I went in and talked to a couple of the partners, and one, he was just so kind, and he just said, I'm gonna make a suggestion to you. I think you need to just find one industry and stay in it. Don't, because I was going all over the place.
Uh-huh.
And he gave me the name and number of a manager of a bank holding company, and he said they're looking for internal auditors, and he said, I think you'd be good at that. And so that's where I wound up into the banking industry.
Okay.
And it was interesting because the only reason he hired me, I had no experience in banking, but he hired me because I used to be with Pete Marwick, and he was a former Arthur Anderson guy. So
Okay.
it just sort of it got my foot in the door.
Well, I think
And
I think if people are smart, the hiring managers, they look for personality and all of the things you can't teach. I can teach you banking. I
yeah,
can teach you QuickBooks. I can
yeah.
teach you debits and credits. I can't teach you how to show up on time, get along with people,
Oh,
all that. So he probably saw that in you and thought, good hire. I can teach her what she needs to know.
right. And it was great. I stayed with them. I became an internal auditor, moved all the way up to a senior auditors, and then when it got to the manager level, they couldn't promote me up because they already had managers. So then I went out into the bank and became a manager of the ATM and credit card department.
Wow.
And so I stayed at the bank through 1995, which was when my son was born. I got married a little in that time frame too, but we had decided that once we had him, that I was going to quit because driving 25 miles one way every day was just too much, and we had no family in this area. My parents were 2 hours away. So I stayed home, and but that was before internet,
I
and
know.
it was all before that. And so what was going to be, we had a second child 2 years later, and what was going to be staying at home maybe 5, 6 years turned into 20.
Now, probably because you had been, were you like the PTA mom and the Cub Scout mom? And yeah,
And
all we do is we change from a paying position to a non-paid position.
yeah,
So when women say to me, "Oh, I'm just a mom, I'm a stay-at-home mom." No, you have the hardest job in the world that you don't get paid for.
that's true. I was a band parent. I was on the committee for the actor prom party 2 years in a row.
Wow.
I sold plants to raise money for one of the organizations. I mean, we did all that stuff. I mean, it was crazy. I love being a band parent. I think that was the most fun. We got to push all the big instruments out on the field for the kids, and it was stand out in the rain. All that good
Oh, yeah.
stuff.
So was he in the marching band?
I had one, yeah, I had one in the marching band, and then we had one in a jazz band. So that one we didn't have to do anything for, but the one in the marching band, yeah. And he was on one of those sideline, the instruments on the sidelines with the xylophones and
Oh,
the
he was a
band.
xylophone player?
Yeah,
Because he really couldn't move around with the
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
and you're
I
and
was big into music in high school. I played the violin, so they didn't have a marching orchestra. But my brother was my brother, sister, and my 2 brothers and my sister were in the marching band. My sister became the drum major
oh
in her
wow.
senior year. That was exciting.
Yeah,
And, yeah, so band, I remember when Mike had my kids, and I said to my
yeah.
mom, I'm worried about drugs and all this stuff." She goes, "Did you do drugs?" I go, "No." "Did your brothers and sister do drugs?" "No." "How come you think you didn't do drugs?" "I don't know. What's the secret, Mom?" "You were in the band and the orchestra."
Yeah, yeah. And
So
it's funny, when our first one went into high school, the principal had the meeting for the new parents, and she made the comment. She said, the best thing you can do for your student is to get them involved in something,
yeah,
band, track, orchestra, anything. Because
anything.
she said, the ones that are the most successful and the ones that don't get into trouble, like you said, are the ones that are involved in something because they feel like they belong.
Yeah,
And that everybody wants to be a part of something.
exactly.
And so we
They don't have
we made
time.
sure that they were part of something and they enjoyed it. And we were in there with them.
That's great. So how old is he now? You have 2 kids, 2
I
boys,
have
a girl and a boy? What?
I have two sons. One is 30 and one is about to turn 28.
And what do they
So
do now?
one is now my oldest is he works for an IT firm and he's a manager. And my younger one works for a finance. He's a finance analyst for Bell Helicopter Textron.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so they both were able to, they went through college and got some, very good jobs. And very proud of them. They work very hard, but
Sure.
yeah,
Well, they should.
it all turned out good. But yeah, so after that, it was started thinking about getting back into the job market 20 years later when they were in college. It was time to help pay for the college expenses.
Oh, I know,
And
yeah.
I started thinking, what do I do? I've been out of the job market for 20 years. And so the first thing I did was, because I had so many friends in the public school system because of all the things we did, I started substitute teaching.
Oh, okay.
And that was okay. It's a lot of work, and I have a lot of respect for teachers
Yeah, I'll bet.
because it was a lot of work. And but I did get a permanent job. One of the junior highs made me an offer, and to be a test coordinator for them. So I did that for 3 years,
Uh-huh.
and that was nothing in the accounting industry, but it did provide steady income to help pay for college. And then when let's see, when was this? 2020. Um, I started thinking, son number two is getting ready to get out of college. I don't want to do this anymore. And then COVID hit.
Oh, yeah, COVID years.
And this is
So
what
you
changed.
started your business during COVID?
I did. I really did.
Yay. All right.
Because
Good for you.
everybody came home, and
I
I started
Yeah.
thinking, virtual. Why can't I do something virtually? And so when I had conversation with my older son. He was very insightful to me. He goes, Mom, you've always wanted to start your bookkeeping business. And I have to go backwards and say one thing. For probably about 10 years prior to COVID, had an uncle. He's no longer alive, but he was a Korean War veteran, and he was a finance guy for a company in South Texas. And when he retired, he and my aunt started their bookkeeping and tax service.
Okay.
He learned the tax laws. He was not a CPA, but he was so smart. And he told me, because he knew, my degree, he kept telling me, every time I saw him, you need to start your own business doing this. And I kept saying, I don't want to do tax. I mean, I'm not a tax person. He said, you start bookkeeping. And I thought, how do I do it? And so he kept feeding it into me. And when COVID hit and I saw the ability to do something virtually, I thought, now's the time. I think I can do this. So, you
That's
know,
great.
right. Yeah, that's really how it all started. I'm kind of self-taught. It's funny because I've used COVID. I was home. I couldn't work for the school because
Right.
getting paid to stay at home because there was no kids up there. And I started Googling the bookkeeping and bookkeeping courses. I thought, well, I understand accounting, but maybe I need a refresher course. And I stumbled into Kate Johnson's bookkeeping side hustle.
Okay. Buds.
What I like about it, well, number one, it's a group of bookkeepers that, and I like it is that we're all in this together.
Right.
We're all at different levels and different types of clients, but we all have a lot of the same kind of issues, how to deal with something in QuickBooks. QuickBooks goes down. How do I handle this type of client? What do I do about 1099s, which was a big resource for me? But it's just, and then of course the education, because Cindy provides so much, people coming and talking, or in the monthly meetings where we all just interact.
Right.
And it allows you to meet other bookkeepers. And it's just like what she's always said. We're not in this, you're not in this alone. And that's why she started it. And I felt like I was really part of a group, even though it was virtually. That's what turned me on about it in the monthly meeting, was that I felt like I belonged to something.
I think it's so important.
Yeah, it really is. And so that's really what happened. And that's how I got started. And I have to give credit to my older son on my name, because my company name, we were talking, I thought, oh, we'll just do Baker Bookkeeping. I thought, well, that sounds kind of boring, And then I thought Baker Financial. And I thought, no, that makes me sound like I'm a bank. And I said, I'm not that. And he just said, Mom, what about Mrs. Bookkeeper? He said, you're married and you're a bookkeeper. And we looked it up, the domains, and there's a Miss, MISS Bookkeeper, and there was a MS Bookkeeper, but not a Mrs. Bookkeeper.
Oh, I love it.
All the domains.
That's great. That's great, because it kind of says a lot just in that name.
Yeah. And that was really pretty neat. So 2021, that's when I really started. And having the audit background really helped me, because, I was able to cleanups. It helps me with cleanups in particular, because I know how to, I start digging, and I love to dig, and I love to solve puzzles. So that's really in a nutshell, how I started. And I had a 2-year-old old Dell refurbished laptop that I started with, and one monitor. And
how many monitors do you have now?
I have 2 pretty big monitors plus my laptop, so I got 3.
You ever go sit at a client or somebody that has one monitor? How do they do it? I don't know. But
I don't either. I don't know how to do it. I'd look back, and getting ready to go on this show, I started just really thinking back and reflecting, and I thought, I've really come a long way. And I didn't really realize it till I started really thinking about it, how far I've really come. And I think about it like this is my 4th act, I mean, this is, because I had my career, and then I got married, and then I had the school thing, and now I'm doing this. And I mean, and this is the final one. I mean, my uncle, the thing that really inspired me about him and my aunt is this was their business that they used in retirement for travel. That was their travel money. And that was when I started. That was one of the things I thought of. I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be able to actually have a business that I call a real business, that we can finance the dream of wanting to travel. We could travel. And so we've done some of that, and we will plan on doing it. And my uncle, he kept the business going till he was about 85.
Wow.
And, when my aunt passed away, he sort of started letting it fizzle down. But I thought, it's really a business that you can have a lifestyle, but you can do it for probably as long as you really want to. And
Exactly.
You're healthy enough, because it's not like you're, having to do something physical, like, go lay bricks or something, but you're not a roofer.
Our wrist gets worked out with the mouse.
What's that?
Our wrist gets a workout with the mouse.
Yeah.
And now anymore, you can talk it with whisper flow.
Right.
And you can do it from anywhere. I started my business. I wasn't even in the US when I started.
Yeah.
But I was working with US clients. They didn't know. I was
Yeah.
traveling around and knew I had to come back and had to figure something out.
Now,
So,
do you use QuickBooks Online? Is that your main GL product, or do you use
Yeah.
Zero or Wave or FreshBooks? What do
No,
you use?
I do. QuickBooks Online is the primary one. And then I have 3 clients on Wave. And the only reason I did that is my son had a side business and at one time, and he wanted me to, he had it on Wave because it was free.
Free,
And,
yeah.
and he didn't have that many transactions. So I said, okay, I'll do the bookkeeping for you. And I taught myself Wave. And then since then, I've picked up 2 other people that have contacted me about Wave. But it's okay. It's kind of clunky in my
Yeah.
opinion. But for a single person that has no employees and it's just like their IT or they're service oriented, it's really pretty good. I mean, because it's definitely a lot less expensive than QuickBooks.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But I don't really advertise it a lot. I mean, it's on my website, but it's I tolerate Wave.
Right. So when you first started out back in 2020, how did
Mhm.
you get your first client?
You know, there was two ways. One, my son, I have to keep saying my son, but my older son was very influential in this. But he had a friend that was a realtor and getting out of it. And he said, Mom, can you log in? This guy's got QuickBooks Solopreneur. And can you log in and just organize his expenses because he's closing out his business? And I did. And it was very easy. But what happened there was I was in contact with this guy's CPA. CPA in turn had somebody that needed a bookkeeper and contacted me, and there was my first client.
Uh-huh.
And I still have that client, by the way.
Oh,
And
good.
he's a DJ.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a DJ and entertainment. Travels around, does a lot of weddings and stuff. But really, I tell you, the best way I've been able after that, I joined our local chamber of commerce.
Okay.
And that was probably, the shining star for me because our chamber has 2 networking events a month and they're free. And one is a breakfast and one is an after hours deal. And I went to the breakfast, my very first, probably first month, I was really trying to get in business. And I met a tax preparer right there. And it was the same thing. He goes, Are you taking on any clients? Because I've got somebody that needs a bookkeeper. I said, Sure. And we exchanged cards. And he has, over the years, fed me several clients, but that's how I got them. And then after hours, it was the same thing. And so it's really grown a lot just by being a member of the chamber of people and working with these CPAs because they don't want to do bookkeeping. And
No.
a lot of them don't even have bookkeepers in office anymore. They strictly concentrate on taxes.
Now, you said when you started, you're worrying about having to do tax. Now, do you do tax at all, or you realize that you didn't need to do tax to run your
I don't
firm?
I probably could. I don't. Now, I do know, I tell people I know enough to be dangerous, but I do know the simple things that, needs to be prepared. And then
Right.
I just work with their CPAs.
Right.
And now that I know about 3 people, 3 that I work with, sometimes if I get a client, I mean, there's been people lately, now my website's working for me because people are finding me on Google. And I referred 2 people out to my CPA friends, and so we're kind of got this referral partner business going. But yeah, I know what they need, but yeah, I don't really want to mess with taxes. It changes so much,
I
and I'm
know.
really afraid I'll make a mistake.
It's no, nobody likes the tax guy. Yeah.
It
I've done
changes
this
so, yeah,
personal.
yeah,
Here's your bill.
yeah. Basically, you're giving them a bill and then they have to pay for the tax and your
Well, it's so
bill.
funny.
You're
All year
unhappy.
long, we work so they make money.
Yeah.
Oh, you're really doing good. You're making money. And I always have to warn, I said, you're going to have a big tax bill. You're going to have a big tax bill. That means you made money. So
Yeah.
then they get to the tax guy and he has to tell them the bill. They don't like him anymore.
Yeah.
Good. That's your
Yeah,
job.
I told people, I said, because I've had people tell me, oh, I had to pay so much in income taxes. I said, well, that's because you're making money. If you weren't
Exactly.
making money, you
Yes.
wouldn't be, when maybe you get a little refund, but that's not why you're in business, is to get a tax refund.
I always tell them, I said, well, here's a way you don't have to pay any income tax. I have a tip. Oh, good. Quit your job. And they go, well, I don't do that. Okay, well, you pay tax. That means you're successful.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah. So, I really enjoy what I do. And
That's
and
great.
I think what I've really found through the years, and I've done, I skipped over a lot of stuff. I dabbled in selling cosmetics, selling essential
Did you sell
oils.
Mary Kay?
I did. I
Because you're
did.
in
I sold
Dallas. You're in Texas. I mean, Mary Kay's out of Dallas.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
was a Mary Kay sales director.
I did that as when I was a stay-at-home mom and thought that was my own bit. And I'm not knocking any of them because that was really a good product. I mean,
Yeah.
I wore it, I used their products, and I did essential oils but when I looked at it, I was like, that's really not owning my own business, really. And so I really wanted it to be me and me
Mhm.
calling the shots and doing and not having to answer to somebody else and buying inventory. That really messed me up and trying to sell all that stuff. And so I learned a lot, and I think that was a really good stepping stone for me. But now I like setting my own hours,
Yep.
and I really like being able to do some of the things that I've always wanted to do or continue doing it because we have that little extra income to do those things.
So have you been traveling like you wanted to do?
Yeah, yeah, the biggest trip we've taken so far. Well, we 2 months ago we went to Pensacola, Florida, which is one of our favorite places to hang out. But 2 years ago was probably the biggest trip. My oldest son, got married in Banff, Canada.
Oh, that's supposed to be real pretty up
Nice.
there, isn't it?
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, it's
Yeah, I've been there.
gorgeous.
It's nice. Oh my
Oh, it
gosh.
is. And made it a family vacation, and we stayed a week up there. And so, but the nice thing about it was, the business funds pay, was able to pay for all of this. I mean, it was, it's not cheap to go up there, but we had so much fun, and it was just a great time. After the wedding, we did the touristy stuff, so it
Cool.
was fantastic. And we've taken some other little side trips, and we've not taken another like elaborate thing like that, but we do go, and we've done several beaches. We've done one of my favorite things is I went to Memphis and got to see Graceland, which is the home of Elvis Presley. He's my favorite. I'm a big Elvis fan, and that was a dream of mine. And
Cool.
so we went up there and just had a great time. So we've
Did you
done a
stay in
lot.
the Elvis Presley hotel?
No, we didn't. We did an Airbnb and stayed in this really quaint little old neighborhood, and it was so much fun. Yeah, we did see the hotel, but
I
we
stayed in that hotel.
what's
And
that?
every night they have peanut butter sandwiches you can have. So you
Hmm.
would eat peanut butter sandwiches. So they have
Peanut butter,
trays of them
right?
out there.
Yeah, the peanut butter and banana, I guess, is what it
Yeah.
is, or something
And
like
then
that.
every
Yeah,
picture in the place is him. And you know the
yeah,
stairs that are in his house? They
right.
recreated them in the hotel.
I will have to
And
go.
they only played Elvis music throughout the whole thing. It's quite the place.
Yeah, it's called the guest house. I think is what it's
I don't know.
called.
It's huge. It's this big
Yeah,
hotel. It was
yeah.
really something. Yeah. They're
We'll
great.
have to visit that. We just did an Airbnb, and it was fun. I mean,
Yeah.
we had a good time, but that was something that I've always wanted to do, and finally, after all these years, got to get up there and do it. And we
Cool.
did the whole mega tour, everything,
That's
and
great.
so that was good. So yeah, we got some other things that we're looking at doing. It's planning and going, and it's one of the things that Donna mentioned is the beauty of doing this is that it is so mobile.
Right.
And when we drove to Florida, one of our trips. This last one we flew, but when we drove, I actually had my laptop on my lap, and I was categorizing transactions while my husband was
Oh,
driving.
that's fun.
It passed the time
So you're
away.
going down Route 66. Yeah. As I'm categorizing my clients' transactions in QuickBooks. Okay, cool.
I've done that many, many times. Many, many times.
Right.
Oh,
You know,
so many times.
And
Yeah.
nobody knew I was doing it in the car. You know,
I know
it's like,
nobody.
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
But I like the beauty of that.
Right.
That's really, it's fun because you can do that. And
Right.
if something happens and you need to go somewhere, family member or whatever, you know, you need to move to another location, you can take your work with you. And that's one of
Right.
the things I do like about this business is you can take it with you. And as long as you
Right.
have, I have a mobile hotspot and a VPN. So when we're at a hotel or something like that, I use that so I don't, you know,
Right.
because of security. But yeah, it's been great, and so I've been enjoying what I do and all the benefits that comes with it.
We always ask the guests at the end, what's the one big idea you had or the one thing you would share with the audience to inspire them?
You know, I think I have to go back to something that Cindy said in Buds is that to look at what you're designing your business to do. So, for example, when I started, I was working 6 and 7 days a week, not all day, but I was taking on probably too many clients at one time, and I was working, working, working. And now I look back and I'm thinking, you know, why was I working? I'm working for something, but if I'm working all the time, I'm not being able to enjoy what I'm trying to accomplish. You know, does that make sense?
Yep.
And so I think that people need to really think of a goal and then line out how you want to get there without killing yourself, you know,
Right.
and because it affects your family
Mhm.
and you want everybody to be happy for you, but you want to be a happy person
Right.
and you have to take care of yourself. So I think that's the words of wisdom that I would have is look at what you're doing and think through it as you're doing it and make sure that you stay aligned to what you're designing your business to do for you. Does that make sense? You know,
I love it.
Uh,
It makes a lot of sense. I think
Wonderful.
you
Yes.
makes a lot of
Absolutely.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. And
I
there's
think
some
it's
things
great.
I wish I had not done at the beginning, but you know, now I'm thinking a lot more. I think I'm thinking smarter now than I did 5 years ago.
Finally, I mean, we finally got that old lady stuff till we got smarter.
Yeah, and I have to hand it to bookkeeping buds too. I mean, I have to say that there are so many people with words of wisdom out there that will put in the chat
Right.
or in the, you know, in these meetings that I have been able to take those nuggets of wisdom and hang on to them, and it's been very beneficial to me.
Because Buds is more than just how to do accounting. I mean, there's Buds hugs and there's events and there's how you doing and cheering everybody on. And
Oh yeah.
we're a big Buds fan. Of course, Cindy has always words of wisdom. She's the kindest person I know. She never gets mad.
No,
Never. At
no,
least in my
I
presence,
really,
you know.
I'll be a lifetime member of that group. I mean,
I know. I love it. Me
it,
too. Me too.
it is great, and I
Well,
haven't
thank you so much for coming on today. This has been really fabulous. So, Donna,
enjoyed it.
good.
Yay.
So sign us
All
off,
right.
Donna.
All right, and that's our show for today. Huge thanks to Debbie Baker, who sat for sitting down with us. And if you walked away rethinking everything, well, that's the point. To every bookkeeper and accountant out there keeping the lights on and the auditors away, we see you. We are you. Go feel proud, confident, and seen. We only ask that you subscribe, share, and like this and send it to a friend. Join us every Tuesday at the same time. And until next time, keep the books clean, the boundaries cleaner, and remember, every time a client says, I read your email, an angel gets its wings. All right, thank you guys and have a wonderful week.
Thank you. See you next time.
Bye-bye.